Okay, so yesterday we talked about installation, then we talk about the images, repository, containers, and then first few commands. We did talk about some of the images which we used, pulling, running, and stuff like that, exec, and then exec with the different things, stop, run, stop, start, logs, and inspect. So let's move on today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get one machine. So let's quickly get the machine. EC2 instance. Here, RHEL5 with 4 GB RAM, 30 GB hard disk, security, select, review, and launch. Okay, so I got this instance. The instance is for today is this one. Go to property, go to SSH, here final.ppk, open up. Now let's install the Jenkins Docker quickly. So here Docker installation configuration, old method, and then this is the one. Restart. Yes, EC2-user sudo -s. Now let's make this behavior properly. 14. Apply. Okay, so now I think it's visual for everyone. Let me quickly install this Docker. It will not take more than 2 minutes. And start it. Yes. Yes. So now started. Yeah. So this is the one. So now first command which I am going to run today is docker help. Okay. And now all these commands which I'm going to talk about it, let me put it here. So which are the commands I have talked about it, I'm going to separate it out. So let me see. I have to talk about today's CP command. I have to talk about exec. Already I did talked about it, so I'll just skip it. So exec is already done here, and info command is already done, and inspect command is already done here. Let's talk about the logs command is already done. If you have any questions, you can raise that. After that, history command I'm going to talk about later. Image command is done, so I have already talked about it. Load login ES command I have already talked about it. Okay, now RM command, let me see if I have talked about it. RM command, no. So let me talk about RM command, and RMI command, let me talk about it. Run command I have already talked about it, so I'll push it up. and save, start, stop. I think start, stop, I have did talked about it. Yes, I did talk about it. So stop, I did talk about it. Here it is. And top, let me see if I have did talked about it. Top, nope. Okay, so I'll talk about it now. And push, pull, rename, I'll talk about it now. Tag, update, version, I did already talked about it. So I'll push it this one up, which is done in the day one. So now this is the command. These are all the commands are the image commands, which is I need to club it together. State command I must cover now here, and restart.
Rename is
And
done.
also push is done. Sorry, pull is done. Pull is done. So these are the command which is like image management and creation. So I'll keep it in one category. Okay, so now pull is done already. Okay, so here it is. Okay, so cool. We have covered these many commands which you can see right now. These many commands are pending, and these commands which I am considering right now is, let me talk about the restart also. Restart means start one or more containers, so that's nothing deal. These commands which will help us to get the images. So you have any questions on these commands? Any questions? Rename is also done. No questions. So I believe there is no questions. Let's get this command start. So now I am going to do one thing. I am going to run one container. So Docker run -itd Ubuntu. So I'm running this. Okay, spelling mistake. Ubuntu, and I'm running one container. This is the fresh machine which I have got it today. Now if I do docker ps, I have got the one container which you can see running. Now how can I get inside this container? Because it's a bin bash, so I can attach. So did I talk about the difference between exec and attach? No, I need to talk about it. So exec versus attach, and each container, these two things I need to tell you. Each containers need at least of one process to keep a container alive. Okay, so this is the stuff which I'm going to. These two concept is very much important. So I'm going to. So now what I'm going to do, Docker. I'm going to log in inside this attach. Okay, inside this container. So I get inside the container. You can see I'm inside the container. Now I can go here, cd opt, and you see there's no file. Under the opt directory, you can see there's no file. So control pq. I did the control pq. Now I am having the container which is running, which is this one. So now I created one file which is called copart. Okay, remember this is the file which I created in the current directory, copart. Now this file I want to copy inside this container, and that container I under the opt directory. So how can I copy? So docker cp, the file name or directory name, you can keep it anything, and then which container you want to copy? This container. Where inside this container you want to copy? opt. Okay, and now see I have copied this. Now exec this container ls/opt. See, this is inside the container. You can also attach and you can get inside the container and cd opt, and now you see this file is there. Okay, so cp command can be used to copy inside the container from the host machine, and also you can copy from the container also. So let's see, I am deleting this file. Okay, copart, this file is not there in the host machine anymore. Now I want to copy the container file from the inside the container to the host machine. So how can you do that? I want to copy this container file, which is there under the opt, and the file name is copart, and where I want to copy, current location, and you have got this file copart here. So this is the way you can copy from host to inside the container, which is this one. Okay, how to copy a file from host to container, and the next question is how to copy from container to host. Okay, so this is the answer. So far, any confusion? Any confusion?
No, Rajesh.
Okay, good. So now let's try the next commands. What I have got it here, I have got one container which is here. 3 minutes ago it got created. Now if I want to restart this container, what will happen? Restart. That means stop and start. Okay, so this is called restart. Now you see this up 1 second. See, earlier up 3 minutes. So now this container got stopped and got started also. So start command, a restart command will stop and start the container. Very simple. Okay, now this is the one. The question is how to stop and start together of containers. Okay, so now this is done. Now let's move on to the third command, which is called rm command. So right now, how many you have containers? Right now you have only one container. You want to delete this container? That is possible. So what you should do, first you should stop the container, and then now you see that docker ps-a. Now you have this container which is got stopped, exited, you see that, and then now you can delete this container, or you can have a multiple container. You can pass the container ID, multiple ID separated by space. Now you see the docker ps-a, you don't have any containers. So the question is how to delete a container. You can do that using the command which is called docker rm cont id. You can also mention more cont id if you want to do that multiple things. So this is the way you can delete the containers. Now I have no containers for probably now, see, but if you want to delete the images, how can you do that? So the command is docker images images. So if you want to delete the images, the command is docker rmi ubuntu. But before that, what I will do, I'm not running this command at all now. What I will do, I'll create one more container. So docker run ubuntu ubuntu, sorry, spelling mistake, ubuntu. I just did it. Now you have one container running. You can see that, which is in exited state because I did not ask for that any parameter to be passed. I'll tell you what is the difference between this, why that is behaving like this with this line. So later I will tell you, but right now you have one container. Now I am going to delete the image RMI, and the name of the image is Ubuntu. See, it says container this one, which is here, is using reference image this one, so you can't delete. So you have to force delete that. So that's it there. So if the container is alive, you will not be able to delete that image. So that's not a good practice. What you're going to do? First thing, you have to delete that container. I deleted, and then you can delete the images. And now you see that Docker images, you have this one. So how can you delete the images? The question is, how can I delete images? The answer is Docker RMI and image name. Okay, is that clear? Now let's talk about it. So now what I'm going to do, I am going to talk about the next command, which is top. So now for that I need some Jenkins image. So let's get the Jenkins image. Here I'm getting the Jenkins image which I have run yesterday. Up. So I'm getting one container of Jenkins together. So run command, automatically it will download. Okay, good. So now you see that I lost this console because I did not run in the D. You remember D, importance of D? No problem. It's okay. I will log in using news console. So here it is, sudo -s. Now I just type docker ps. See that one container is running. So if this container is running, but if you want to know how many processes is running inside this container, how do you know? Docker, you can go inside that container. That is also possible. You can exec the container and you can do the ps-ef also. It can be possible, but simplest way is instead of going the container inside the container, just to type docker top and then this one. And now here you have this many containers, this many processes running. Right now it's having 2 processes running, 1 and 2. So that way you can inside get to know. So now let's create one more container, this time Ubuntu ITD, and what I do, Ubuntu. So this time I'm running in the interactive way and detached mode, Ubuntu. So now this container will be running also without killing, because ITD I'm running interactive mode. Now you see that docker ps, I got another container running from the Ubuntu. So now docker top and command container. So now right now it's running 2 process. Here you see this is the 1 and 2. So now if you want to do exec, docker exec -it and then container, same container ID, and then bin bash. Again I'm doing the bin bash. Here I just did it, and here you do that control ps-ef. That is also possible, and you can see we got those containers running. Now those processes running. So control PQ. Now again you do the top. Now you see. So how come it got increased? See, earlier there were 2 processes running, and now we got 3 processes running. Earlier there was a terminal PTS2. Now it got terminal PTS3 also. How it come happen? So I'll talk about this one. But now, how to know the running process inside the container, then you will come to know using the command called docker top cont id. Okay, now last command which I am having in this category in terms of container management is stats. So what is the stat means? Stat is very simple command actually. So here it will tell you, if you do the docker stats, it will tell you all the containers, whatever you have, how much CPU and how much RAM is using. Look at this. You have 2 containers, container 1, container 2. This much of CPU is used by the container 1. This is the one. Memory utilization. Limit is maximum 4 GB. Why the limit is 4 GB? Because my VM itself on EC2 instance is 4 GB. This is the percentage of the memory. This is the network, what they're using. So now if you want to know the specific container only, then you type the container ID. Okay, so now you're showing only that particular container. So this is the way you can know how much CPU and how much RAM is using. So how to know the CPU and RAM used by the containers. The command is docker stop cont ID, and if you want to know everything, sorry, stats, and if you want to know all the containers in consolidated format, then you have to do only the stats. Okay, so this is the way. So far we have covered all the container related, management related commands, which also includes like CP, RM, RMI, top, and stats, and restart also. Any questions so far?
Rajesh.
So Rajesh, I have a
Now
question.
Yeah.
On the when we do Docker top container ID, as we ran like Ubuntu container by default itself. Ubuntu as an OS itself has a couple of processes running by default process, or we can say the system processes. So in the top command, Docker top container ID, we are not seeing that. So that's because it doesn't have anything.
Sorry, I'm not able to understand your question.
Shomik, that's a basic Docker image. It's not like a full level system, right? So you won't see all the process.
Okay, but okay, I'll check, and then if any question, I'll get back to you again.
Okay, so have you watched my first video or second session?
Second, I didn't. First I watched, not second.
Okay, so please check the first also and second also.
No,
Probably you'll understand, because if
first I checked. First I was there on the first session.
Okay, because if in Docker, if you miss one session, probably other sessions will not make any sense.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so now let me talk about few things here. These are the topics I'll talk about: exec versus attach, and each container need at least one process to keep the containers alive. So let me talk about the first, exec versus attach. Okay, so now here exec. What is exec? What is stat? So I say exec is a way to run the executables, and attach is a way to get attached to the running process of containers.
Sorry, I had to
Now,
rejoin, Rajesh.
hello?
Yep. Can you hear me, Rajesh?
Yes?
Okay, yeah. Sorry, I had to rejoin.
Okay, cool. Okay, so exec versus attach. So exec is a way to run the executables. So what is the meaning of this? So let me show you here. I have already talked about yesterday. Docker PS, I am having containers, which is Ubuntu. Now what I do, Docker exec, okay, and now I put the container ID, and here I type ls. See, it executed. Ls is the command. It's a command, it's executable. If you want to type anything else, let's say exec, and what else you want to type, df-kh, you got it. You want to know du, you got to know. So everything is like it's running as a executables. Okay, now what happens when you run as a executables? So let me show you first this one, docker ps again, and docker top, docker docker top, and how many processes running? See here, as of now you have 1 and 2. So total you have two terminals running, PTS2, PTS3. Okay. Now remember, total terminal you have TTY, PTS2, PTS3. That means total two terminal is active. Now if I do exec again, Docker exec, I'm doing again, but this time I'll do with IT, so that way the process will not be killed. The terminal will not be killed. So now ITD and then same IT and then where's the container ID? Container ID is here. So now and then bin bash. Okay, I just did. Remember, you have a total 2 session active, PTS2, PTS3, and total I did exec IT. I'm running the third executable, which is called bin bash. Now control PQ, safely exit. Now again you do the top. See, it was having 2. Now it created one new terminal with this. So exec, whenever you do exec and you keep it running, it run the new session. So what happens? It's a way to run the executable, but always create a new terminal. Okay, so this is the exec. You can run any command. So now what I'm doing right now, clear the screen. Here again you are trying, this time I'm trying not executable, this time I'm trying not interactive way, this time I'm trying git. Do you have a git inside this? No, so it not run. But if you have a git inside that, it will run it. So what are you going to do? Let me get inside the container. So what I do, exec one more time here, and you want to come out of it, then you'll see another terminal. But right now, this is the apt. So apt get install git. I'm inside that container. Git is not there, no problem. I'm going to update the operating system. So update the repository. So after the updating the repository, I will get the git. Now installing the git. Okay, I'm inside the container. I'm doing all this stuff. Okay, control PQ. I get out of it. Now Docker top. Let me show you the top here. See, again one terminal got added. Now if I do exec and this time git, this is a way executable works, exec works, and see, now you got all the commands. So this is the way you can run the exec. Run exec, always run the executables. It can be any executables. It can be scripts also. It can run. Okay, and always create a new terminal. Whereas attach is not at all creating a new terminal, but attach get attached to the existing process. So what is this existing process? So for that, Docker top container ID. See, how many terminals do you have? Total 4. 0, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So now here, if I do attach, and which is a 1, you have to find out which is a 1. So if you go inside this, so I will find it. So, but let's attach Docker attach, and here. Remember, I did attach. I'm inside the container. Now, how many total TTY you have? 1, 2, 3, 4. Total TTY you have 4. You attach to the container, and here, if you do TTY, you can. How can you see the TTY? Who am I? ID. Who no. Just a second. Linux list.
You can check with you can check with top. It will give the terminal.
Just a second. There should be one. I remember the command. I suddenly forgot. So no, there is one command which is. Oh no, it's not there. Who am I? PTY. Top. Let me see. Yeah, total. You can also see this is the terminals open, but there's one more command, very simple one. Just a second. List of active terminal. Terminal command. This was there. Who is not displaying? Who? W. W should show. The who hyphen A. No, okay, it's not supporting probably. So in RHEL used to support, I guess. Let me check this. No. Okay, no problem. So now we got that through top. These many terminals are active right now. You can see that. So here, what has happened? If you look at this, again, we got a little bit of, out of context. So here, let me show you one more time. So Docker top and container ID. So container ID is this one. And how many total you have it? 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I do attach, again come out of it, Control PQ. Again you do the top. And you have the same number of containers. So basically what happens? Attach is will get attached to the running process and will not create a new terminal. Okay, so that's one difference. So here attach will get attached to the existing running process and without creating a terminal, whereas exec will execute the executable and script and all which create a new terminal. Okay, so this is the difference between attach and exec. Do you understand this?
Yes, Rajesh.
Do you understand this? Hello?
Yes.
Cool. Now I am going to tell you the importance of this line. This is a very important line. Each containers need at least of one process to keep a container alive. That means in a simple way, each container must have one process running in the foreground to make the containers alive. So for example, let's talk about it here. Right now, how many containers do you have it? Docker PS, you have only one containers. Let's kill these containers. So Docker stop. Okay, I killed the all containers. How many images you have? You have 2 images, Jenkins and Ubuntu. So now what I do, I just run Docker run Jenkins and let's see what happens. Oh, come on, I should have run it in the detached mode. So let me kill this one. I want to run in the detached mode. Okay, so I don't want to see the logs. I just got it. Now you see I have one container running. Remember, I run in the detached mode, so I should not see the logs. I should not lose the console. Here I got this one container running. Okay, now look at this. Who's making this container alive? This is alive because of this command. Okay, this is alive because of this command. So if this is killed, you will be killing the container. Okay, now what I need to do, I need to go and do the exec. I want to go inside that. So can you do the attach here? Let me do that. So Docker attach and container ID. Now where you will go? See here. Now you cannot type anything. I mean, basically there's no commands you can make it working. Actually, I cannot do anything. Why? Because attach here, when you do the Docker attach and container ID, it get attached to the bintini, which is keeping alive this container. And bintini is not a shell. It's not an interactive shell where you can write the command and all stuff like that. So bintini is one of the utility, and it's not understanding any of this command. It understands the parameter which is already passed. So now it got attached to the bintini. That is the reason you are not able to do anything. So now I have to get into the new session. Okay, EC2-user. Now what I'm doing right now, docker ps sudo -s. I'll have to become a root because Docker needs root. So now docker ps. Now I have this container still running. I attached and it got attached to the bin.tiny where I cannot do anything. So now what I need to do, I need to run executable inside this container. So how can you do that? Docker exec and it I do, and which container, this one, and what executable I want to run, bin bash. And you see that I got inside this, and now I'm on this executable. Okay, in active way, this executable. Okay, so now if you see the ps-eaf grep, just put it this one. Let's see, bin.tiny is running as a PID1. So whenever you do attach, it's get attached to the always the running process. So here, see, each containers need at least of one process to keep the containers alive. So when you do the attachment happen to always the PID1, which is keeping the container alive. Remember, so I did the attach, bin.tiny was here, not this, not this, not this. It was attached to this one. Okay, control PQ. Remember, I am having as of now docker top container ID. And now see, I'm having three sub process running, bin bash because I do exit here, and then jar and tiny. Earlier it was only 2. So now if I do attach again, let me show you the attach one more time. Docker attach and container ID, and see, again got into the tiny, not into, see, last process I ran bin bash, which is a PTS2 terminal, but always you attach, it gets stick to the process which is keeping the containers alive, which is called PID1. So here each container need at least of one process to keep the containers alive. In this case, Jenkins, this is the one which is keeping the containers alive. If this is killed, containers get killed. But now I'll show you, I go to in the different console, EC2-user, sudo docker needs root, so docker sudo -s. Now docker ps, I have this container. Now what I'll do, I will create one more container, but not from the Jenkins. I will create one more container from the Ubuntu. So let's create it. Docker run -d. Same thing I did with the Jenkins. Remember, Ubuntu. Okay, Ubuntu. And now docker ps. What has happened? That container is not there. See, I did the same thing. I did the docker run -d Jenkins and it ran. When I did docker run -d Ubuntu, it did not run. Is it not run or something else has happened? Let's figure it out. Docker ps-a. Look at this. It ran, but it got exited. See, exited 23 seconds ago. Why it got exited? So basically, phases, you need to understand the phases of the containers. Okay, here, phases of the containers. Containers first get created, then running, and then exited. Okay, when it runs, it always need one active process. Active process. So in this case, what has happened? Let's look at this. In this case, when I type here, sorry, wrong window. So in this case, what happened? When I type docker run -d Ubuntu, Ubuntu ran. Ubuntu ran. It got created. The containers got created. It also ran. It ran with the bin bash, but bin bash was not having anything to wait for it. So it created, it ran and exited, and now this is the exited. So I said each container need at least a one process to keep a containers alive. So I have to make at least that container to hold it. and make it alive. So how can I do that? Let's do that. How to hold that container? You have to make it in the interactive way. So Docker run -it. I'm keeping it on hold through the ITD and Ubuntu. Even though if I don't pass the bin bash, it will be taken by default. It will be bin bash. Now Docker PS, see this container is alive up from 1 second. So who's holding this container? Bin bash. Why? Because bin bash is still running and is waiting for some input and it's in running mode. Last time what I did not give the IT. It did not wait. It just ran. It was not waited and it got run. So there were here in this case, there is one process which is in waiting state and keep on running, which is making your containers alive. Here there was no waiting, there was no running, so this did not make containers alive. In case of Jenkins, there was one containers which was making it alive, which was Bintini, and that was waiting. So that is the reason each containers need at least one process to keep a containers alive. This process is clear? Is it clear?
Yes, Rajesh.
So if that process is not there, containers will create, run, and exit. So you have to keep it in the foreground in a detached mode to at least one process. For Jenkins, that process was given by the image itself. How? I will teach you during the image creation process, but that is how it is. Understood?
Yep.
Okay, now let's talk about the volumes with container here. So now what is happening? I'll clear this. So how to clear all, how to stop all container and remove it in one go. Remove it in one go. Because I don't want to type multiple commands. So there is a Linux command which you can try. Docker stop remove all containers. I'll just copy. This is the two commands which you can try, and then which will help you. So here this command will stop all the container which is running. So let me close the remaining window, unnecessarily it will confuse you. Clear the screen. Now stopping all the containers and removing all the containers. Done. Okay, now stop and remove. Everything is done. So now you see that my environment is completely fresh, no containers. Now, how can you work with the volumes? What happens? Let me create one container from the Jenkins. So now I have to run this command. This is the one in the detached mode. So now clear the screen and run it. Now I got this container, Docker PS. You can see this container. This is the holding the container right now. Okay, it's running from last 2 seconds. So now this container you have it, and after that, this container, if you go inside this container, so you have to do exit, because attach you will take you to this one. So I can't do this interactive way here, and bin bash. It's a one executable. I just did it. Right now I am in which directory? Here. I'll go to the CD directory, and now right now you are here. var Jenkins home, and this is the place all this XML file of the Jenkins has been written. Look at this. So this is the important files. Okay, these all XML files are important files. Jobs, logs, notes, all these are XML files. The more you create a jobs using Jenkins, the more XML file will be created in this location. Okay, so that's a good, right? This is your data. So what happened? Control PQ. Okay, I did the control PQ. Save it. Now this container is still running, and now suddenly I by mistake, what I did by mistake, actually this I'm not doing with intent, with intention. By mistake I just did it, this command, or containers got corrupted. So basically you lost all the data. Remember, those configuration files were very important in order to run the Jenkins, and you spend hours and days and weeks and months of time to configure those jobs, and those, if you create a jobs, it stored in the XML file, and that is lost. So what to do now? So that is where you have to start for the volumes. Okay, volumes in the container. Okay, volumes in the container. So what you can do, what you can do, you can map the volumes. So you can fool the containers thinking, okay, they are creating a file in the varlib. You can fool the container. How can you fool the container? Using the same command. Using the same command, but there's one option which is called -b. So this is the container without volume mapping, and this is the container command which will do the volume mapping using -b and where to where. So this is external and this is internal. So now internal, you know that internal is var. Let me just do that. Var Jenkins, right? It was var Jenkins, right? I don't have that command. Just a second. History. Okay, it was inside the container. So let me create one more container this time, just to know that volumes. Here I created one container, ps docker exec -it, and inside this container go to the bin bash, and here cd, and this is the directory where it gets stored, var Jenkins home. Okay, this is the file. So this is a user home. Okay, I just type cd, it takes to the user home, and this is where the Jenkins is storing all the file. Control pq. Now I don't need this container at all, just I wanted to know this volumes location. So here stop and then rm. Done. Okay, now so how can you do that volume mapping? So now external drive where you want to store it, and this is mapped to this one. So where you want to store it, let's go to the opt. Okay, now opt is there, and here I create one directory, Jenkins backup bkp. Here I created, so this is the directory, external directory, opt and Jenkins backup / backup. So this is the internal, this is and this is external. Here now look at this. This is internal which is getting stored. I want to map to this one. So how can you do that? Let's replace with -v. So internal, I will put it here. External, I'll put it here. Okay, now I will run this. Clear the screen. Docker ps-a. You see there are no containers. Run it. Container got created. Still it's not running. What has happened? I don't know. Just hold on for a second, guys. So now Docker ps-a, you can see there's one container which is exited. How come it got exited? I have no idea. So the question is how to troubleshoot. Anyone has idea how to troubleshoot?
Logs.
Yes. So how to troubleshoot? The first command which should come in your mind, docker logs cont id. Okay. So now I will go and check Docker logs and current ID. And look at this here. Here what you have, it says cannot touch. This is the one. From here var Jenkins home, they're trying to write this file, and inside this file, which is permission denied, cannot write. So basically inside the var Jenkins, they are not able to write. How come? Earlier they were able to write the var Jenkins. How come they are not able to write? So basically what is happening, they are basically not writing here. This container is getting fooled. Basically they are trying to write here, and here you have a permission issues. Let me show you. This is owned by this Jenkins backup is owned by the root. And let me remind you, Jenkins was running as a Jenkins user. Okay, Jenkins user. Okay, so that Jenkins user cannot write a file inside this because it's owned by root. So what I need to do, I'll just either I create a Jenkins in the host machine and assign this ownership to this directory. That's the one way, but I want to follow the shortcut way. I will assign everything for time being. Remember, now owner, users, and group has all the access to the Jenkins. So now that container is anyways is a waste for me. I'll create another container using the run command. Done. Okay, now there's another issues. Can you help me? What is the issues?
We
We
can't create container with the same name. We already choose Jenkins one.
Same. Yeah. We have to change this name. Okay, so Docker ps-a, still one container. You can't create that with the same name. This time you have to create with the same another. So clear the screen. Now here got the container. Here it's running. You can see that it's running, and it's running with this name, Jenkins 2 name. But the thesis was where is getting stored. See, this stored, all the files is getting stored in this location, which is external. This is a external, this is internal. So now, even though if you lose this container, so let me do that. Docker stop, Docker ps-a, Docker stop, and here, and Docker RMI, not RMI, RM, okay, and here and here. I just stopped it. I clear everything. You see all the container lost, but still I have a data. So that way you can also do the volumes mapping in the containers to make sure your important data are not lost. So that is also possible. Is that clear?
Yes, Rajesh.
Okay, so far I have talked about many topics, which includes copying the files from within a containers, removing the containers, removing the images, understanding the process, understanding the CPU utilization and RAM utilization, restarting the containers, exit versus attach, and then each container need at least one process to keep a container alive, and we understand the phases of the container in which created, running, exited. Now we also did the volume mapping with the containers, in which we did the internal and externals. How to troubleshoot is also done, and then we tried to find out some of the commands which will help us to remove all the stop all the containers and remove all the containers. Any questions so far? Anyone has it?
I have one doubt. If you create by using execute command, if you create the new terminal for every session, so it will affect any performance issue for that container?
What is that?
If I create the new terminal for every execute command, so it will affect the performance effect?
It will affect the
performance effect.
Yes. See, each terminal, each session requires some CPU and some RAM to maintain it. So of course, every exec you do, it requires some CPU. So yes, little bit of the CPU will be wasted. And again, but if you want to execute some command and exit, it can be done. So as I said, if you want to run the test cases, or you want to do some operation like development, debugging, testing, compilation. So you can use that container as a compiler. Okay, so let's say you have a Java. Let's say let me give you an example. Let's say you have a Python file. Okay, here you have a Python file, touch file1.py, and now, sorry, I just made a wrong name, py. Now you don't have a compiler set here, I mean interpreter set. Python interpreter is not there. So what you're going to do, maybe you have a one container which you can run. So you have a container name. So what you do, exec, or you can also do run also, you can do no problem. But here exec, what you can do, the container name, so that's the container name itself, image name is a Python, container name is a Python, and then you run the file1.py. So this will be executed, okay, and inside the container output will be displayed on your screen, and then containers will be stopped, exited. So it started container, run your file, release the resources, and exit. So that is also, it can be possible. Getting your points?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah. Any other questions?
No, Rajesh.
Okay. So now what I should do, let's try to cover some more commands here. So wait, update tag is a part of search. Let's talk about the search. Let's talk about kill. And pause is not so important for time being. So this is the two commands. So let's say if you want to, what you want to do, if you want to find the images, so for that, where you have to go, here, Docker Hub. You have to go to Docker Hub browser, you have to search, but probably you don't have a time for doing that. So what you can do then, simple way, you can search for the images. To Docker, search Jenkins, and you can see these many images you have it, and number of stars, number of pull, all these things you can see that. So this is the official images, this is the supported images, you can see that users, Cloudbees, all these things. So this is also, you can grab also all this stuff you can do, and you can search the images. So the question is how to search images using command line. The answer is Docker search SEAR and search string. Search string. Okay. Now kill is so see, if you stop the container, then this is a graceful. Okay, there's a difference between force and graceful. So if you stop the container, that's a graceful. But here, if you kill the containers, let me create one container. So Docker Ubuntu, Docker run Ubuntu itd ubu and pu. I created a container, right now it's running, you can see that. Now if I do stop, it's a graceful stopping, but as of now it's not getting stopped sometime, so I can kill also. So here, sorry, I just wrongly I typed Docker ps Docker kill and then container ID. You can do one or more container ID also, you can do that. So here it got exited, but this is like a not gracefully, it's like a forcefully. So how to stop the container by force, so that you can use it, Docker kill and the cont ID. Okay. Now, so far all the container related commands we have covered, and now we have these commands pending, which is basically for not container management, is for the image management. Okay, so and now we will talk about this image management commands after this talking about the concept of the image creation. So that is important. After that only it can be covered. So now, any other questions you have so far on the containers management Docker commands? Any questions you have?
Rajesh, regarding the volume attachment, can we attach it to an already existing container without stopping it when it is in production?
Can you attach to the already existing container? Means what was the question?
Volume, can we attach a volume and mount it to some mount point in the production environment?
Yes. So in the host machine, you have a mounted. This is, let's say, this is not a directory. This is a mounted one. So here it can be done also that one. That's not a problem. It can be NFS also, network file system also.
So Rajesh, what he's asking is, we ran the container without the volume. Can we attach a volume after it started running, not while starting?
So in that case, that if the volume is what you got the permission issues. So if the volume is not exist in your host, they will not be able to write the file inside that, and in this case, your containers will not be running. It got exited.
After the okay, let's start a container without a volume, and once the container is running, then after the container started running, can we attach a volume like from the host?
So there's that's what I'm saying. It's very simple. I said, remember this, each container need at least one process to keep the containers alive. If the map volume is used by running process, then you have a problem. You cannot do that. Containers will be exited. Now, if the map volume is not consumed by the running process, then you can do also later. So here in this case, Jenkins was writing the file in the same directory which I mapped to. So it was not able to proceed further and it got exited. Getting my point?
No, what I'm trying to tell you is, I mean,
let's do one thing.
I
Can you?
I don't have a requirement to attach a volume, and then
one by one.
Request to attach the volume later on. So when the container is running, in that case, can I attach a volume when the container is running and alive?
Your question is, when a container is running, can you attach a volume? Is this the question?
Yes.
Okay, listen. Here, this questions, when you talk about when I attach a volumes, actually you are not at all attaching a volume. First thing, this is not attachment. It is a mapping. Okay, so container believes they are writing a file here, but Docker transfer that map to this place. So now you must be wondering, and you are as of now considering a container as a system, as a machine, as a server. It is not. How come? You need to understand how the containers are being designed. So let me give you one statement here. I will not be able to explain everything.
It is making something like a soft link to the external.
No soft link. I will tell you. Docker container image and container. This is the statement I'm giving you. I need to explain you much in detail. Docker images and container is a file system. And which is called intelligent file system. Now you are considering right now this is mapped as is this like a mount? No, it is a file system which is getting mapped to each other. So basically container thinks they are writing the files inside this map, but actually it's been written in the host file here. So that was the reason it was not able to find the permission. It was reporting that permission is not here, but actually the permissions were not granted here. So it's not a mount, it's a map. It's not volume maps. It's like the way you can store the file and in the host machine. Now
Okay.
remember this line. Yeah,
Yeah, we get
remember
that.
this line. I
Can you-
say. Yeah. So remember this line. I say images and container in Docker is nothing but a file system. What is a file system? It's not a normal file system. It is intelligent file system. Okay. So this I need to tell you when I talk about the image creation process. And in that case, you'll understand how come they are copying, mapping this one volumes to.
Rajesh,
from
can you
here.
create the container with the first command?
Can you?
Can you run the? Can you create that container for the first command, like docker run -d? Go ahead and create it.
Okay. I got this container. Tell me.
Okay. So his question is, can you map that volume now? So now the container is running, right?
Haha.
So can you map a volume to the host now? Can you do it now?
The answer is you can map only during the runtime. It's already running.
Okay.
Only
Yeah,
runtime.
that was his question, Rajesh. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So anything like mapping of port, mapping of volumes, see here, -p, -v, all this mapping will happen only during the runtime.
Is that the right question? Is it Anjani Kumar?
Yeah, yes. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, Rajesh. Go ahead.
Okay. So now I'm going to push this notes to same place. Copart, and access of this is devopsschool.com/notes/docker/2008 Copart, and here. So I'm sharing these notes with you. Can you please start the lab now? I hope everyone has a machine ready.
Yeah, sure, Rajesh.
Shramik, probably you can stop the recordings because the unnecessary recording will be there.